So maybe you've seen one of my gaming skits, or one of my smiling guy videos, or even an internet boyfriend video. Or maybe you've heard one of my Kronk impressions. And if you've ever wondered who I am, then this video is for you. For starters, I am not the emotional damage guy. I'm also not the default skin in Fortnite. And I'm definitely not Markiplier. Yes, some people have compared me to Markiplier, which I'm still confused by. So why don't I tell you about myself? My name is James Tang. I'm an actor and filmmaker with a third culture background. Not a lot of people know what third culture means. Basically, let's start with one culture, my parents' culture, which is like mostly Chinese. I say mostly because they're technically also third culture kids. The second culture would be that of the country that I grew up in, which is actually Thailand. The third culture would be this third culture that has elements of both, but also is its own separate culture. So like I have culture influence from, my parents' Chinese background and growing up in Thailand, but I also went to international school. So it becomes this kind of separate entity. Totally easy and makes sense, right? But definitely a big part of my identity is this international school culture as well. For those that don't know what international school is, it's pretty straightforward. It's a school where the students and the staff come from international group of countries and cultures and stuff. So you could have students from Japan, Thailand, Korea, Sweden, the US, South Africa, being taught by a teacher from the Netherlands. We were basically surrounded by like cultures and ethnicities and religions and languages from everywhere. And it was honestly like pretty beautiful looking back because like there was so much diversity that we basically treated each other as people. Like the popular kid was popular because of their personality. And if you didn't like someone, then it was just because they were maybe weird or sketchy or mean. Being surrounded by that was so defining to myself, my personality, and the stories I want to tell. After graduating, I actually ended up going to school in Canada and Australia, where I studied filmmaking. I've had a very privileged life, and I'm very grateful for that. I got into filmmaking by taking an elective because I kind of always wanted to do that, but I'd never really given myself that permission or saw myself in that world, I guess. And so I took my first film class, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. And then they basically said at the university I was at, that they were going to close their film program next year to restructure it. Turns out the warmest part of Canada was too cold for me anyway, so I ended up finding a school that someone I knew was going to as well in Australia. There I got to do a 2-year film program and really just explore the process of filmmaking, going from pre-production to post-production. Then after graduating, I went back to Thailand and decided to actually take an acting class because I wanted to improve my directing. Similar situation, I kind of never opened myself up to the idea of being an actor. So this was kind of dipping my toes into it, but it was more just like a, oh yeah, it's just, to build up my skill set as a director. Well, it turns out I really loved acting too. So eventually I decided to move to Los Angeles because, well, that's kind of where the Olympics of acting is. Turns out the acting business is really hard. Like really hard. I think there's also obvious challenges of being an Asian man trying to make it in Hollywood. But there's definitely also a lot of universal actor struggles. I could make a whole video, maybe even more about that if people are interested, so let me know in the comments. But I was kind of slowly, working my way up in my career when this whole little global pandemic situation happened. And that's also kind of where I got started making content. The world was shut down and I basically never thought I'd work again as an actor. And so I was seeing some friends kind of blowing up on TikTok. So I thought maybe that could be some place where I can both express myself and maybe build up a following so that people would want to hire me because everything is all commercial and business oriented now. And so after a few years of doing that and really finding myself in that process, here I am now. Basically, I am trying to create the stories that I want to see myself in now. Because in the past, it would be like, oh, once I book this big thing and then maybe get a little more famous, then maybe I'll have more pull and I could just then make the things I want to be in. But it's been like 10 years of that, so why not just do it now? My goal with all this isn't just to be like a narcissist and be famous for that and stuff. I mean, maybe a little bit. But like the truth is, when I grew up in Thailand, there was kind of a differentiation between like local Thai films and like Hollywood films. And within that world of Hollywood films, I never really saw myself or people that looked like me represented in that. And so by doing this, I also want to improve and increase that representation because I only have one face to work with anyway. So that's kind of basically where I'm at and where I'm kind of going to go forward. I do also plan to make some videos that are kind of about figuring your life out because I figured some things out and I thought I could share that and hopefully that can be helpful for people. If there's any topics you want to hear about, let me know in the comments as well. So if you made it this far, thank you for being with me here on my journey, learning more about me. Hopefully it was enlightening. And I do hope you stick around and get to enjoy the fruits of my labor and that it entertains you the way it entertains me as I make it. This is James Tang signing off for now, and I will catch you soon.